You're listening to an episode recorded during the time Innovation Fuel was part of University Canada West. We are proud and grateful for the work we've done together, and we want to thank the university for being in our podcast. We are now excited to continue the journey of Innovation Fuel into its next chapter. Thanks for listening. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of Innovation Fuel. I am Dave Kiran.
And I am Gelareh. We are educators, entrepreneurs, and your hosts.
Innovation Fuel is our weekly business podcast brought to you by University Canada West. We are here to provide you with insights of fascinating stories from entrepreneurs, key industry professionals, and connect those back to the university to help students learn more critical thinking, more problem solving, and ideas as we go down the path of innovation.
If you want to learn more about the diverse business models, check out our episodes at www.ucanwest.ca/Innovation Fuel.
Right now, it's all about our special guest that is about to ignite our episode today and bring some positive thoughts to our show.
Dave, have you heard about that stage? We have to run our business idea, go through the experimental and see if it's work or not. So, and then how we can run this experiment to make sure it's a right business idea. Have you heard about that one?
Yeah, and we talk about this all the time. We talk about the right product market fit or business market fit. We look at these doing these experiments and trying things out in order to find if we have that product market fit. Yeah.
Because if I want to buy a product that's absolutely new, it haven't been in the market, I really want to have a trial period of it and see that if it works or not, or I really enjoy it. And I have to go through the experience of it. I have to have the feeling about that product. Product can be anything, right? So I think that we need a stage.
Yeah, but what we're talking about too, Gelareh, is that when you have an idea, a new concept, it's coming to market. We were trying to find that product market fit, like we said, but we need to test those ideas, and we need to be responsive to that market, and we need to be able to make changes to that product offering to make sure that it better fits the value offering of what's out there.
Yeah, I think that, but we can have a different type of experiment. It's some experiment. You need to feel it.
Well, and when we're talking about experiments, and I want to lead into our conversation today, because one of the things that we experiment with things, we might experiment on each other. Oh, geez! Oh, wow! Scariness. but it's experimenting with things around us, and maybe things around our mind, and our conscious behavior. So why don't we get this party started? And let's ignite today's episode with our special guest who has all these positive thoughts that maybe bring these positive thoughts to life for us and help us in our journey on Innovation Fuel today. So today we have Maryam Mobini, and Maryam is joining us as a transformative technology chapter leader in Vancouver here. She is a co-founder and CEO of Transformative Technology Company and the To Resonate Talk series. She is a curator and a therapeutic immersive experiences and design researcher, behavior design researcher too, and is a part of the Tiny Habits certified coach who helps individuals to create positive inner shift and headspace by overcoming automatic negative thoughts.
Our very special guest on Innovation Fuel today is Maryam Mobini. Welcome to our podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. It's such an honor to be here. And yes, I do wear many hats. And today I'm here to talk to you about To Resonate Behavior Design Consultancy and what we do at our behavior design studio. So just a little bit of, what our focus is, just to let our audience know what behavior design is a new approach to understanding human behavior and how to design for behavior change. And we work on habit-stimulating platforms and applications, and we use behavior design to create solutions that users really want to use. So it's a unique design process that is based on behavior psychology. And our behavior design-based process for developing innovative solution is very quick, repeatable, and efficient. with a systematic way of redesigning for user behavior psychology. So every iteration improves on previous one, guaranteeing a steady rate of progress towards a successful solution. So it's maximum efficiency. So our process typically takes about 2 weeks. Each subsequent iteration is based on the previous conclusion and maximizing the likelihood of success.
Can you explain that what problem you're solving actually?
Yeah, the problem that we're solving, right now is we're focused on transformative technology companies. So that's our focus. And I'll tell you, so first of all, what is transformative technology? So is for those, anyone in the audience who's not familiar with it, is exponential technologies like AI, sensors, robotics, synthetic biology, and more applied to human inner and interpersonal landscape, support happiness, connection, and growth. And there are 3 categories that falls into. So the companies that are focused on mental and emotional well-being, so to be healthier and happier and more resilient in individuals. So these are the companies that are trying to solve these sort of problems around mental and emotional well-being. Or social, the second one is like social emotional wellness. So to have human interaction skills that make strong, creative, and resilient families, communities, and companies. And the third is like human purpose and performance, to become our best selves and able to co-craft and share vision for humanity that can contain us all. So it's really, we're trying to help people live healthier and happier lives. So using these technologies and these tools.
You're working directly with businesses and HR firms in order to deliver this value and this technology. How do you bring this to the market?
Yeah, so we have clients that come to us because so I got my training with a behavior designer, BJ Fogg, who's a professor at Stanford at the Behavior Design Lab. So often, most of the connection comes from recommendation from there, or the transformative technology lab that I'm part of as part of Stanford as well, and also the Peace Innovation Lab. So they find out about the work that we're doing through these 3 labs at Stanford, and our work is like really the intersection of these 3 labs. And so what we do, like for example, there's a platform that we're working on that is catering to frontline workers right now. Mm-hmm. During COVID, and they're under a lot of stress, and they're under a lot of stress and anxiety. And our goal is to be able to help them to make healthier choices, healthier habits. So one of the ways that we do that is that we do that in a very efficient way. So as I was mentioning, that is 2 weeks and is minimum risk. So it's a very short process that allows us to identify potential obstacles very quickly. So as a result, we're able to act and minimize risk. So I'm just going to I'll walk you through the process of the steps that we go through. The first steps is like research and emotion analysis. So what we do is that we research and analyze the end user's emotional tension and internal motivation in the context of the solution. So in this context, we're trying to get them to do healthier behaviors in in categories such as, fitness, money, gratitude, family, and nutrition. So making healthy choices there. And why we do this is that because we need to know exactly what our end users are motivated to do, so that we can design a solution that will be happy to use, even if they're not yet fully aware that that is what they really want to do. And the second step that we do is design and prototype. So we create a simplest possible prototype based on a specific behavior or behaviors of our choice. And this is so you don't really, really need to code. So we can, we use existing solutions to be able to create, very fast prototypes to just test the behavior, because what we're interested in is trying to figure out the behavior sequences. Okay, so when the person comes to the app, what are the what are the things that they're going to be doing. So we don't need, and the reason we do this is that we don't need a complex solution to test for behavior psychology. So often a few screens are enough to know if the given direction is worthy of further investment, And the last thing that we do is we snap test it or revise it. Well, snap testing is a behavior design term for we're testing it. So we test our prototype on groups of 10 users at a time per week. And the reason we do that because we just need 10 users is enough to prove whether we achieved our goal or indicate that we should try a different approach in the next iteration.
Maryam, please correct me if I'm wrong. So if someone comes with an idea that's related to the behavioral, then you run the experiment to make sure if this idea is viable or not. So you reduce the cost of the failure for startups, right? So, or the person has a business idea, they have a minimum viable product. Mm-hmm. They come to you and you run it and say that it is actually good or not, then they can go through it or what they have to do, how to improve it. Am I right?
Yeah, we actually save them a lot of money. We can't just say if it's a good idea or not. We need to run these tests. So imagine in the span of 2 weeks, they get enough data to inform them of the decision that they need to make, like whether to move forward or pivot. So usually solving problems around activation or retention in the product world. But really it's about, we want people that we're serving to do certain positive behaviors because it's going to lead to like healthier, happier lives. So when they come in, and usually what you see out there is statistically new solutions have about 5% chance of success. And the reason behind this failure is a lack of user desire of involvement. And that's because number one, users are not motivated to use a solution. Two, using the solution is too difficult. Or three is users have insufficient desire or incentive to use a solution. So for example, for myself, if I want to, or, we're approaching New Year and it's a good time, like everyone start doing like New Year's resolution, want to build healthier habits. And perhaps like you buy let's say the latest Fitbit and you think that you're going to buy that and you're going to become super motivated and you're going to lose weight or you're going to go, right? So,
how many people that sign up for gyms and never and they just go for the first month of January and never come back again?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly, right? Let's take maybe a meditation as an example, right? And for yourself, have you guys tried? Do you meditate, and have you tried? And what was it like for you?
Well, I used to meditate all the time, and I did it for I built a routine around it, but then I lost the routine and I stopped doing it. And I'd love to get back to it. But again, it's what you're saying is this motivation. Where's the motivation? Where's the desire for me to get involved again?
Yeah, exactly. So I think, one of the techniques that we use is, which is like BJ Fox technique which is super effective, is called the swarm of bees. Because the traditional model, which is really outdated, is that people would just pick, let's say, one specific behavior and say, hey, this is the way I'm going to do this. Every morning when I wake up, I'm going to journal, right? And if you don't do it, you feel like a failure and you just don't feel good. You don't feel successful, right? But the swarm of bees model is like, so it's a way of thinking about behavior, but also a way of designing for a behavior change that you want. So if you imagine like a swarm of bees, it's a whole bunch of bees swarming around something. They're like, imagine like there's a cloud in the center and the cloud is your aspiration, maybe like well-being, or meditation. And so this aspiration to meditate, there's tons of ways. There are a lot of ways to do that behavior. So you would write down like, what are the different, these bees are like many different ways that you would do you could meditate. It could be like going for a walk, or you could be sitting, or you could just noticing and that you have a thought that catch yourself, that you bring yourself to the present, right? So, and that's really helpful because when we have this, we're trying to, incorporate a new behavior, is that you have a lot of different you have a lot of different options to choose from. Okay, and that's why behavior design is so great and it's really fast. And even when it comes to, for example, platforms or like any technologies that client come to us and they want to see if that they want the user to do a specific behavior, right? And to make the behavior sticky so they can come back to the platform. I mean, that's the purpose that they want us to come back. And so we need to figure out what is that right behavior sequence for them. It's not a one size fits all.
Well, so Miriam, like we talk about behavior design, but the other thing that's out there is we have this world of design thinking methodology. So tell us the difference, or how these two, intersect with each other, or do they intersect with each other?
Yeah, they do. They do. It's just that they do. I mean, the design thinking, we follow a lot of the similar steps. It's just that behavior design is more focused on a specific action. It's a specific action that they're going to be doing. And we want to get that behavior sequence. It's like a formula that we want to get, is that after they do a particular thing, then they're going to do this, So there's like a recipe that comes with it.
So would it be fair to say that you take the design thinking methodology and you overlay it with these behaviorisms that we learn from psychology, and allow them so we can go a deeper dive into understanding the user in a different way, so that that you can find better ways to motivate them to interact with you?
Yeah, exactly. So one of the things is that we're not here to really motivate anyone, So the fog behavior. The fog behavior model that I mentioned is when a behavior happens when three things happen at the same time. Is called B equals map, when motivation and ability and prompt happen at the same time. So it makes it easier to understand behavior in general. And so when that happens, is that a lot of times we pick behaviors that we say, oh, I should do this, I should do that. But really, it's about what is it that you already motivated and you want to do? And do you have the ability or not, right? The ability, do you have the time? Do you have the money? Or, it could be any of those things. And then when prompted, when you're triggered, then you will do that particular behavior, right? Are there any platforms or like, let's say, that you guys are using right now that is actually helping you in achieving any healthier behaviors?
Yeah, I think 7 minutes. My workout is with 7 minutes.
Okay, so name of platform?
It's just a 7 minutes. A small workout, but it's very intense. So it's an app that I use it. Or for example, I used to use Fitbit, but yeah, no.
I use a couple of things. I use Strava for running. I use Headspace for meditation. And so those are the things I have, and everything's connected to my smartwatch. So it helps me and sort of reminding me when I need to do these things.
Yeah. And so it's about, how often do we go back to those apps? And then if we don't, like, let's say go back, or if we miss it, do we feel guilty? And if we feel guilty,
oh my God, yes.
Yeah.
and these days, I mean, at the end of this year, I mean, I keep missing them. And I feel that I'm the horrible person in the world.
Yeah, so that's the thing. That's what we're trying to do, is that we build platforms in a way by applying behavior design, because it's not supposed to make you feel guilty. We make it tiny enough that you would feel, that is manageable and is doable, and you would feel successful doing it, because no one is going to change behavior if they're feeling bad. Like what were the times that you felt, anything that you did that you felt really awful about it, that still that particular thing exists in your life right now?
Yeah. Well,
like if it's painful, we're not going to do it. So we change best by feeling good, not by feeling bad, right?
Well,
Exactly.
and I think when we look at this on the psychologist basis, we go back to the discussion. Most people know the Pavlov's dog element and the element of those positive stimulation and negative stimulation, and getting into this element. If you touch the fire and you get burnt, you're not you're not going to go touch the fire again if it's a bad experience. It seems like having a positive experience is going to be more rewarding to you versus a negative experience. So.
Exactly. So when we're working with clients, we're working on, let's say, platforms or wearable tech, or whatever the category of transformative tech is that we want to make sure that we don't make the users feel like a failure. And if an app is making you feel that way, well, it's not, you know.
So Miriam, what do you think about these apps that take money from you? When there's these applications out there where you put money into it, and if you don't do the service, they take money from you, or they don't like. Have you heard of those types of to motivate you to go to the gym or to do some of these elements
Oh,
to lose
right.
weight? They do this negative element. You put your money up front, and if you achieve your goal, you get your money back. If you don't achieve your goal, you don't get your money back.
Well, yeah. I mean, is that working for you? Have you used it?
I have never used it. I see it. I see what you're talking about, negative elements, and I can't see how it could be successful in the long run. I'm thinking that the more that we look at things, that we need to have positive reinforcement, not negative reinforcement.
Yeah, exactly. And so one of the key areas in behavior design is, a celebration, right? So what happens is that when you do a particular behavior, when you do a particular action, scientists, have learned like decade ago that rewards or celebration needs to happen either during the behavior or millisecond after. So the dopamine is released and processed by the brain very quickly. So that means you got to queue up those good feelings fast to form those habits. And that's why, you've seen, I don't know if you've used Duolingo. Have you used Duolingo before? It's like to learn new languages. I think they do a really amazing job of, getting the user to come back. It's just some of the gamification and the way they reward you, right? It just makes you feel like, hey, I want to come back. And also the sense of community. I think some of those platforms, when there's a sense of community where you have your friends as well in there, that they're going through those challenges with you, right? That you set an intention that, hey, let's say you want to lose weight and your friend is also going through that. And then you come together on the platform is like where you're gaining awareness and knowledge of how to, but then that translates, in your real life as well, right? Because you
Yeah,
feel.
because and you're talking about something because I use Strava for an example, and the Strava app does this element. It's more of a gamification piece, and I'd like to talk more about this gamification piece, because I think it's very relevant in today's world. How do we keep people going in that space? But when I look at the Strava app, I bring people connections into my community that I'm in, and we are competing against each other for times and running. And so, like who's got a better run, who actually ran, but it also has this thing, this eerie feeling in my back of my neck or my back of my head saying, if my friend ran and I didn't run today, I'm going to feel really guilty. So it almost forces me to make sure that I make time for the running.
Yeah, exactly. It's sort of like actually, especially if you get that prompt on the notification on your phone, that's your friend so and so, like Alex is just went for a 5 minutes, walk, right? But also, it's really tricky because each of us, our capabilities are different, and where we're starting off, we can't compare ourselves to, like, let's say someone who's like a marathon runner, or if we're just like starting off on our journey. So the way, BJ Fogg talks, Tiny Habits book that I have right here that I'm going to show you. Actually, this is like a really amazing book that, it really does change your life. So it's so Tiny Habits. So it's talking about how to really break those down for yourself, make those behaviors small enough that is manageable. So for example, if you want to incorporate a new behavior, like he gives an example of, if you want to floss your teeth, right? And do you forget? I mean, I don't know if you guys like, oh, maybe tonight forget about it, or the next night, or then maybe you don't do it. Maybe I'm going to do it in the morning and you don't do it, right? So it's always like, am I going to get to it or not? But it's about, one is that, okay, we start with one tooth and just do that one tooth. And after you celebrate, because now you're creating positive reinforcement, and your brain is firing off this, like, celebration circuits, right? Dopamine is being released just over one, and simple enough. And then you continue the next day just with one. And also the placement of where you put for example, first of all, do you have floss or not, right? So preparation is important too. Like, okay, I got to make sure that I buy floss next time I go, to the store. And then is your floss like in a drawer, or is it visible? Is it next to? So the location, the context is really important too, right? So same as like if you want to go running, or if you want to go running in the morning, I think we start off with like, make sure you prepare your clothes the night before, you put it by your bed, and your running shoes and everything. So then when you get up, it's just easy. You want to make the behavior easy enough for you to do. Like, for example, like during the pandemic, I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna, I want to eat healthier, I want to juice, but I can't just keep sitting here and say I want to juice when I don't have the tool, right? So the first thing I gotta do, like, I need to make the behavior easier for myself. So what I do, I just order a juicer, which is like a really good one, right? It's like how long did that take? It's like, well, am I gonna go to?
But I'm good at buying, not using it. I have to think about, I'm going to wash it. Oh my God, no.
Oh yeah, that's so exactly, right? So for each person is different. So if you're thinking about like, yeah, that's it, exactly it. That's why when I bought it, actually the first time I made 4 or 5 bottles of juice that is gonna, like, yeah, this is gonna last for a whole week. Then I started talking to my friends, and they're like, that's really not a good idea, because nutrition wise, it's really not a good idea. It's best to do fresh juice. And I was thinking, oh my God, but that's a lot of work, right? So exactly. So for each person is different, right? So what happens is that with behavior design, we know that is part of the formula, that we don't have that kind of expectation from ourselves that the first time things going to work out. It's just a learning. It's like, oh, okay, I did this week and I realized that this is actually kind of tough. So what's the next thing that is going to be easier? Maybe if I like order from juice truck and they deliver to me, it's just like one click,
Make it simpler.
It's about simplicity, right? Simplicity like changes behavior. So that's what we're trying to figure out.
So now we know how everybody moves to the city to get closer to the juice trucks.
Yeah. I have a question, Maryam. It's really interesting. The whole process is really interesting. But my problem is, it's just running this experimental. It should be very expensive. I mean, what do you do about it?
No, it's actually like cheaper than paying a developer to build out the whole app for you, and then you put it out there and you realize, oh, the users are actually not doing the behavior that I had intended them to do. So that's the beauty of it. Imagine in 2 weeks you figure out the behavior sequence of whatever platform that you want to put out, and know that once you have you polish it, that the users are actually going to do that behavior. So I think that's the beauty of it. I mean, the study that we've been running for the past 3 weeks, right? We've collected so much data on the users, and it's so interesting. Not only we're getting, quantitative data on the back end of using, there's so many platforms right now that doesn't require coding, right? So we can quickly create, for example, the pages that we want and the sequence of behavior that we want. Right now, at this stage, we're not really too concerned about the user interface, like how good it looks. We're more focused about the behavior sequence. And then we send it out to 10 users to try it. And then we actually follow up with them. We do interviews, or we embed, for example, the feedback that we want to get into the app. So after they do an action, we ask them, so how was that for you? Or certain questions, so they can, it's fresh in their mind, so they can give us feedback right away. And in 3 weeks, we tested the platform with 30 users. We've collected lots of data that is informing us of, okay, what is the next iteration going to look like, this was our intention. Did the users do what we intended? And we realized, oh, okay, not really. This, and this, they didn't get it. And it's just good to know at this stage. It's way cheaper than actually paying a developer to, build it out, the whole thing.
The question is that when I look at it, for example, business or startup, they have a lot of expenses. They always in the survival mode at the very beginning. So how do you convince them or give an option to them that run experiments with low cost?
Yeah. So good question. Because we want to get validation for whether or not this experiment is going to be working, so that we create a simulation of what would take place either on the platform or whether it's a physical space, and we create that simulation, and then we charge people and to see if people are willing to pay to come to this experience or not. And so they did. So they did. When we get the validation that, oh, okay, well, people are interested. People are Instagramming, putting stories up on Instagram. They're putting, Airbnb reviews. That was for one of the clients. So that gives us enough validation that, okay, this new business model is going to work, right?
So you create a simulation to create means, because most of the investors are asking about that, how you can make sure that people will buy your product with this price, right? So run this kind of experiment to show that, people are willing to pay the product by this price, right?
Yeah, exactly. So, for example, one of the simulation, because that one of our clients, he had a physical space, so the simulation was inside his the physical space, but in a different way. It was a different revenue model for him. Like, let's try this out, right? But if it's a platform, then we run simulations, using existing tools, or like, for example, platforms that doesn't really require coding, and it's just easy to just get the behavior sequence, right? Yeah.
It sounds to me, Maryam, that through your process into Resonate Behavior Design Consulting Studios, you're going into this process and you're actually creating a relief, a pain reliever there. Because when we think about going into this space and we're thinking this idea is going to resonate, and instead of us going out and building it and experimenting by doing different things, from A/B testing to different things, I was trying to respond to a smaller market. You're taking some of that risk out of it by actually taking and understanding the behaviorisms of these particular target market in order to better interact with them. In my mind, that seems like that would be quite a cost savings in the long run.
Yeah, imagine we're going to do this with the partnership as well, right? Because every partnership is going to be different. So we have to figure out a way that how our partners are going to be behaving. But going back to that, I think that's a great place to start, and to see if people are actually going to do the behavior and they're going to share or not, right?
So in all this element, and just so we really clarify at the end here, at least, as you're going through your organization to Resonate Behavior Design Consulting Studios, you are, who are you typically serving? Who is it for? Who is it mostly for?
Okay, so we are targeting transformative technology companies. So they could be startup, but they could be also, because it's an iterative process, right? Wherever they are in the product development, if they want to improve it, and if they want a new phase of this product, but they're still not sure if people are going to behave a certain way. Let's say they want to create a new plugin and see that if people are actually going to use it and what's going to happen. This is helpful for, to be honest, like small to medium-sized businesses. Is about that you just want to put a new idea out there, or like new product or service out there, so we can help you to let you know. So it's like we're designing, successful solutions that can be very costly and require large financial resources, but by applying prototyping thinking, which is a rapid iteration methodology that is used by Google's innovation department, we're able to improve the rate of progress tenfold over the standard approach used by current design studios. So cutting costs and minimizing the risk of failure at the same time, right?
Miriam, this has been so like enlightening. Like what a different way to think about some things, and to think about even going and developing a new idea. Miriam, we always like to give our guests the last word, or the golden nugget, or you have a piece of information that you think that our audience can benefit from. Is there anything you want to share with our audience, our students, that you think might help them in their future elements, their careers, their entrepreneurial venture, or anything like along that lines?
I think one of the biggest lessons that I gained, having my own startup and working in this field is not wanting external validation. Okay. So forget about external validation, is that because because each of us, we have like our background and our upbringing is very unique to us. And for example, like what Gelareh, what you've studied or Dave has studied, and the experiences that you've had is very unique to you, right? So when you have an idea that you're so excited about, or my students are really excited about, or I'm excited about, right? And we often like think, and this is what I used to do that I'm no longer doing. It took me a long time to get there. So it's been only a year that I stopped doing this. Okay. So is that I would like wanting to mentors, or like, someone who has a higher status, or thinking that someone just because they graduated from MIT or Stanford or wherever, that, like I need their approve my idea in order for me to actually go ahead and execute that idea. And actually, you waste a lot of time if you're doing that. I mean, I see my students even that they look at me and they say, okay, is this idea good or not? Right? Should I do it or not? And I tell them that, it's like, if you can make a case, and if you just go ahead and do it. There's so much resources actually right now that we have in our fingertip, that we can Google, use YouTube. There's so much that we can do. We don't really need to. We just do it. Just do it. And you just figure it out. You just need to start, right? So not needing that external validation, I think, is so empowering, that you just look at yourself and see that, okay, anything that I want to create, I can just create it on my own. And of course, yeah, you need the help of your community and everything, but you need to be, no one knows what's going on in your head. Like you have to, you are the voice. So you need to bring that idea and the complexity of it on paper first, and then, put it out there and test it. And then you get people's feedback, right? You don't need validation. You just run this simulation, and that's the best feedback for you.
Well, you guys have heard it from Miriam. And I think that what we're hearing here is you got to have the courage to take that first step forward, and yes, you have to be the willingness, the driver of that first step, and then once you take that first step, as you said, build the community, build the mentors around you, get the people to support you, and then test the idea to find that product market fit. Excellent words of advice.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me.
No, it was great because you always tell that you have to go to find investors, right? Sometimes you don't need to find investors before. Maybe you can just run the experiment and see if the product is good. You actually can earn money, as Maryam said, by your experiment. So still maybe you don't need. So there's not always investors or venture capitals. They are not the only answer.
Exactly. If you already have, people paying for your services or for your product, and you have enough users, then, that's amazing. That's, just take it from there, right? And just build on it. Yeah. I think it's great, and not waiting for the next grant to come or the investor to come, and it's just do it.
Exactly. Thank you, Maryam.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dave, for joining us today.
For all business owners out there, we have a fleet of enthusiastic and knowledgeable students here at UCW that are ready at the waiting to help you with your business, either through our capstone project, our virtual internship program. We are here to help. Let us help you. We know it's tough times out there. We know that resources are limited. Why not pull in a student to help, an MBA student, an undergraduate student, whatever we can do to support you? Please reach out to us and connect with us. If you have a great story, or you have some information that our audience, our students can benefit from, also reach out to us. We want to hear your story. We want to share it because that's what builds community. And so connect with us at www.ucanwest.ca/innovation fuel.
Thank you, Dave. Thank you, Maryam Mobini again. You have just listened to the Innovation Fuel podcast with your host, Dave and Gelareh. Subscribe to our podcast on Apple, Google, or Spotify podcast. Catch our next episode, same time next week. Thank you for listening and have a great week.